have been intentionally decluttering my home for the past 4-ish years, and now this year I am decluttering my entire house all in 1 year, or like this later part of the year, because we are looking for land and we will be building a house in the next couple of years, so I do not want to move with some of this stuff. I love decluttering because, one, it helps our space feel so much better. It helps it function better. It helps us be able to get rid of the clutter that we don't actually use, and then be able to easily use the stuff that we do use and want to use, and then easily be able to access that stuff as well. Also, as we are decluttering, we are able to gather a lot of information into our mind. What did we actually end up using? What did we not use? What did we think we were going to really, really love and then we didn't? If we have kids, what did we think our kids would really love but didn't? And then we can use that information to make good decisions when we're bringing things into our home in the future and when we're deciding what we want to spend our money on. Through all of the decluttering that I have done and am doing right now, I have compiled a list of things that I think are the hardest to declutter. And this is my personal list. I definitely think that there are probably other people that feel the same way about some of these things. You may not about others, or you may think that those things are super easy to get rid of, and you may have some on your list that I don't have. But overall, I think that there definitely are always some things that are more difficult than others to get rid of. And it's important for us to recognize why that is and be able to have a conversation with ourselves and say, is this something that does actually need to stay, or that I want to stay and that I have a use for, that I have space for, that I feel like keeping and dealing with? Or is it something that I'm just holding on to for whatever reason and I probably should let go of? While I am talking, I am going to be showing some footage of the declutter that I did today of this hall closet here that stores a lot of our kids' games, stores all of our Play-Doh and like kinetic sand, puzzles, card games, all of that kind of stuff. And this was an awesome declutter, so I'm so excited to share this footage with y'all as I am sharing the hardest things for me to declutter. Starting off with useful things. So these are things that are actually quite useful, like a screwdriver, or I'm trying to think. Tape, a specific kind of tape, or glue, or I know there are like tons of other things that I'm really just not thinking of, or just like laundry detergent. These types of things that have accumulated that are actually useful, but I don't actually use for whatever reason, whether it's a laundry detergent that we didn't end up liking, it didn't work well with us, or it is just something that you have too many of. But in your mind, you're thinking, oh, I could actually use that. I might actually use that one day. I find this a lot with like craft supplies for the kids especially. I'm like, oh, they might actually use this one day. But it's like, when is that one day going to be? If we haven't used it in the past 5 years, do we really need it? Do we really need to keep it for another 5 years before we actually might possibly maybe use it? And I definitely have to go through that in my own mind for useful items that haven't been getting used. Next, we have things that I love and used to use a lot, but now don't use anymore. And most of the time, I still usually love that thing, but it's just not getting used. And I really have to decide with myself, is it something that I can find a place for and be able to look at and still find value and be able to find joy in it? Or is it something that needs to go? And a lot of times, if I think that it needs to go, I will put it in a box. The minimal mom calls this the time will tell box, but I'll put it in a box or a bin or something and put it away for a couple of months and get it out of my space and just see how it feels to be gone. And then after a few months, if I am not actually missing it, then it can go out of the house. And odds are I'm probably not going to miss it, because if it wasn't getting used, it was probably buried somewhere anyways. Next, we have things that bring me joy but aren't used. We've all heard of the I think that's how you pronounce it, method, where she says you look at your stuff and you say, does it bring me joy? If it brings you joy, then you keep it. But that's really not the only thing that I think we need to be looking at. We do also need to see if it's being used, if it's being put out on display for you to see all the time and be able to value that thing that does actually bring you joy, or is it just put in a box and stored away? It's really good to ask yourself questions like, have I used it in the last year? Do I see a specific time I'm going to use it in the next year? Do I have a place to put it out and enjoy it? Or am I not going to do any of those things? Next, we have things people gave me. This is a tough one. All of these on this list are tough for me, but this one especially is really tough because I'm a gift giver and I spend a lot of time thinking about what to get somebody. And when somebody gives me a gift, I think about all of that time and money and effort that it took for them to get that gift for me. And it's just really hard for me to let go of something, even if it's just not something that I love and use. This is really tough for me, but I have been getting better and better as it goes. I really usually try to use it at least a little bit to, get some use out of something that somebody gave me. But if it's just really not working, I have found that I'm able to maybe put it in that time will tell box and see how it goes. And every single time I make the decision to get something out of the house that somebody gave me that is just really not for me, it's easier and easier to make that decision in the future. Like I said, I still really try to use it first when I get it. That way I do feel like I put in an effort to try to like it, and if I just didn't, then I feel okay getting rid of it. Next, we have clothes that I love but don't fit. This is a tough one, and we've all heard it before, I think. Let's hear it again. Our clothes are meant to fit us. We are not meant to fit into our clothes. So if there is something that is in the bottom of your closet or in a storage tote that you are hoping to fit in again, really try to think about it. I do have like one pair of jeans, I think, that I've kept through a couple different declutters, and this was a struggle because it's like barely not fitting. I don't know. It's tough for me. It's tough. I get it, you guys. I get it. It's a tough one, but honestly, I don't need to keep it. Next on the list is sentimental items. I am a very sentimental person. My husband's sentimental. It is tough with the sentimental items, and I am continuously learning about myself and just, life whenever I'm trying to declutter sentimental things. And they're mementos. I know they're mementos of times in the past, and we can look back on it, but we really have to be realistic with ourselves on how much we want to keep, have like a specific area that we keep it in, and don't go over that. And really, you have to be intentional about looking back at that stuff if you want to keep it. Usually it takes me tons of declutters to get sentimental items down to what I think is actually a good, manageable amount of stuff. Just because I am so sentimental, so I'll get rid of a little bit in the beginning, and then I'm like, I still have this much, and then the next declutter, I'm like, I can definitely do more, get rid of a little bit, I still have some more, and then it just continues with the process, and by several times, I am like, I'm happy with the amount of stuff that I am keeping, but it does take me a lot for the sentimental stuff, and that's just how I am right now in life. Next on my list is things I think my kids will play with, or I want them to play with. Am I the only parent that does this? This one's a tough one for me because I think maybe it's like I think a toy is cool and that it would be cool to play with, and then my kids don't actually think it's that cool. I don't know, and it's taken me a long time to like let go of that kind of stuff. I'm always really happy when I like a toy and my kids like it, and I tend to hold on to those for them to use for a long time, which is good, but yeah, it's a tough one for me. Again, putting these types of things in a box, a time will tell type of box, is definitely helpful for me. Things I spent a lot of money on. This is always a tough one. We spent a lot of money on it, we used it for a bit, and then we didn't end up using it as much as we thought we were going to use it, and we think we should probably declutter it, but we don't want to because it was a lot of money. This is another one where you can ask those questions. Did I use it in the last year? Do I have a specific purpose I'm going to use it in the next year? Do I have a place to store it? Like if you're going to store it and only use it a couple times a year. Is it worth it for me to keep it? Maybe the answer is yes, and maybe the answer is no, and that's a tough one. Maybe you can try to sell it if you really feel like it. If not, just take it as a learning experience. You got some use out of it, so your money wasn't wasted all the way. Maybe you got some use out of it, and then you're able to give it to somebody else that will be able to use it a lot more than you. It's still tough though. Last on my list is things that I didn't spend a lot of money on but are worth a lot of money. I like a good deal. I like thrifting, yard selling, going to consignment sales. I like finding really good deals, and this is a tough one for me if I find something that's super cheap but is actually really expensive or worth a lot, and I bring it home and then I don't use it. Even though I didn't spend my personal money, a lot of personal money on it, it's still really hard because I'm like, man, it was such a good deal. That's a tough one. Same kind of thing. Ask yourself the questions. Did I use it in the last year? Do I have a specific purpose I'm going to use it in the next 6 months or a year? Do I have a space to be able to enjoy it? Or do I have space to store it for when I have specific time to enjoy it? All of these things are really good questions to ask yourself if you are having a tough time getting rid of something on your hard things to get rid of list. I had to condense the Play-Doh way down from what it was before. We had like this overflowing, that box overflowing. We had like, I think 4 of these bags just like on the bottom of the floor over there, and then 2 boxes of stuff. So there was just so much stuff for Play-Doh that had accumulated over the past 6 months between birthdays and Christmas, and it was way too much. And I thought that a couple of my kids would want to go through it with me and pick their favorites to keep in our designated Play-Doh bin, but they said they didn't care and I could choose what needed to stay in here. So I asked them about a few specific things and they said no, they didn't want it anymore. So that stuff went away, and then I just kept some basic stuff to play with Play-Doh, some different cutters. I did keep a couple bigger things, so like this hair thing and then this like noodle maker thing in this bin because they do enjoy those ones I've seen, the ones that like have the Play-Doh come out. So this has been a big undertaking, but it has been well worth it. I am so happy with the result. This feels so good. There's extra space for when we get new things. It will be inevitable, but I have accounted for that in this declutter so that we are not just piling things in a place that doesn't have any more room. And I was able to get rid of tons of stuff out of this little closet right here, and I tell you, it feels so good. Every declutter, I feel like, just it makes you be able to breathe in the space that you just decluttered, and this one especially is just going to function so much better. This stuff is going to get used more by the kids and I, and that's ultimately what I want from the things that are in this closet. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed learning about the things that I think are the hardest to declutter and maybe get some motivation seeing me declutter this closet and get rid of a huge box of stuff and just feel so much better and have this space function much better. Maybe that has motivated you to get some more decluttering done in your home and think more intentionally about the things that are in your space and that you bring into your space. Thank you all again for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.